but what I'm going to use is this DiamondClear. I'm going to go with a 3-inch brush. There is zero, and I mean zero, gloss. There's no shine. This gel coat is done for the utter oxidation. Now the other problem I have here is these spider cracks. DiamondClear finish. Initial impression, it's getting a 1 from me. Really bad looking right there. It's so thick. So yeah, definitely should have. I don't know how it says you don't have to thin this stuff, put it in the sprayer. There's no way. Zero. This looks terrible. Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Welcome back to another episode of that thing behind me. This big white monster that has this terrible wrap on it. We'll get into that at another time. But what I'm worried about is not down here so much, but up here. Now, I've had this boat for a little over a year, and hopefully you can see it just as well as I can see it. There is zero, and I mean zero, gloss. There's no shine. This gel coat is done for. And I don't know if might be hard to see, but up here there's the numbers, the 2655 and the Ciera that you can still see. A little easier to see the only little bit of gloss is right here behind these, where these numbers used to be. And obviously I'm going to put some numbers back here. They're in the boat, and I've got the sticker for it, but I didn't want to put these back on here and then do something over the top of this. And I don't know how well you can see it, but these numbers are raised. There's no numbers beneath this. After I peeled these numbers off, and you can see it in multiple other locations, this is how much of the gel coat. So it's a millimeter or two of gel coat that's just, because this boat sat for what, 15 years, so 2010 to 2025 almost. Gel coat just straight wore off. So I know it's going to be difficult to buff this thing, right? Like I could probably buff this part. I could try that. But once you get up here, there's non-skid. And there's no buffing that non-skid, guys. There's just no buffing the non-skid. And then there's so many curves and angles up here. Like trying to buff this is going to be, I'm just going to need a ton of pads, and I'm just going to burn through them, I think. And it's already so much worn down that, I'm going to have to do that in a year or two. So I've got a plan. And I've seen one video, but it was a different boat. It was a small boat where they put something on top of this. And there's a bunch of stuff you can put on this gel coat. A lot of patina stuff, different patina companies that put it on there, but those only last a couple of years from what I have researched. But what I'm going to use is this DiamondClear. Now it says it should work. Now this is, I mean, it says rock hard. I don't know if you care that it is rock hard or not. You might want a little bit of a flexibility. That's why it's a gel coat, but because the boat flexes. But I think this will be fine since you use it in a lot of automotive applications. I did watch someone else who put this on. He used thinner, but this says don't use thinner. There's no directions to use thinner on the back. I bought some thinner, but I don't think I need it. I'm not going to use it. What I am going to do is just use these foam rollers and and these foam brushes, and that's how I'm going to apply it. I do have some other brushes I can try. This says you can use brushes and the brush strokes will disappear. I'll give that a shot, but I've got these brushes, and like I said, I've got the other brushes, and I got these rollers. I think the rollers are going to be the best bet to get the bigger sections, and then I can use the brushes after that. And what I also didn't show you here is the utter oxidation. So to get rid of that utter oxidation, I've got this 800. I've only got a few of these left. My son used the heck out of them on his car. But this is 800 grit pads. I'm gonna wet it down and go over the whole thing with those 800 grit pads. Everything I'm gonna do with those 800 grit pads to make sure that the oxidation comes off. Maybe a little soap. We'll see. I'll show you that. But the first thing I need to do is get rid of some of these nicks, right? So there's a nick here, and another one here and here. Only a few, so it's not too bad. And I got this JB weld, this marine weld. I think that's what I'm going to use to really, just hit those nicks. So I'll check the whole thing over. There's only a few of them actually. This is in decent shape for what it is. And I want to make sure I'm going to stop here at the rub rail, and this should come off with that 800 grit. But there shouldn't be any other nicks, I don't think. But I'll get up here with a ladder and make sure. And we're gonna start at down here and get up to the edge. If I can even get up to the edge of the cab there without going on the top. I'll get as much as I can with the ladder, as high as I can, and then I'll get on top. And let me get up there and I'll show you what else I have to do real quick before I can start this. Now the other problem I have here is these spider cracks. They're all along the gunnel here, and this is where I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop at the gunnel. I'm not going to go down with that clear coat. We'll maybe save that for another day, but for now, I'm going to I'll show you this too. I'm starting with this rock grinding disc. I'm going to try to grind this out just a little bit and do the same thing with this marine weld. Fill it very lightly, make sure it's smooth, and see. I'll try one or two of these. I know I could probably clear right over this and not worry about it, but I just want to do it now. There's some of it here, a little over there, and that's about it. So it's not going to be too much, but that's a project I have to do. And then I'm going to do this entire helm area, and then I'm going to I'm not going to hit the switch plate, but I'm going to hit this part of the helm, and I'll probably stop. It's actually glossy there. I'll probably stop right around here somewhere and see how it looks. But yeah, that's the plan, guys. These cracks and stuff over here, I don't think I'm going to touch. I am going to go ahead and hit this too, but I'll gloss right over that. No big deal. Leave those cracks, I think. We'll see. And then try to get up or along there as well. Hopefully you can see that these cracks are very, they're not deep. So just a little bit and they're gone, right? I'm in the gel coat, and the cracks disappear very quickly. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish this and over there. Then I'll mix up a batch of the marine JB weld, very lightly, maybe with a razor blade, hit these and make it smooth, and hopefully I can smooth it and keep it white. Then I don't have to do anything else. I guess you could do fairing, but then you'd have to paint it, so I'm not all about that. I'm trying to do simple, quick, easy, make it look good and still be functional. Well, I did try an alternate method that seems to be working. I think this is a 220 or a 320 fine grit sanding block. These, should have done this in the first place. These cracks are so small that you can just sand them out with this sanding block. Probably better if you added a little water, but they're gone. Are you kidding me? Well, sure. Let's try these here. These are bigger over here. Well, these big ones are a bit deeper. They do take a little more sanding, but I think once you fill that with clear, they'll disappear. So, yeah, probably better off to just use a sanding block. Take off just a tiny bit, but yeah. But I did what I did. So, we'll see. I've got a spot here that needs to be repaired. So, hey buddy. It's Benny. Come to check out what's going on here. But I still got to mix it up. And we'll see how some of these other spots, because once you get rid of this little, once you bring it down a little bit, that darkness, a deeper crack just collected a bunch of nastiness. And I think that's all. Problem is, now once you clear it, it'll kind of go away. I think these will be a little different because if I sand through this, it's going to get dark. Or light, I'm sorry. I think if I sand through these, I'm not going to like what I get to, because that color is going to be different when you clear it. So see how it looks once I get it wet with the wet sanding. But yeah, we got some more over here, definitely. Pretty bad up here. But if I use this and then the other one, maybe at least I'll eliminate the dark colored cracks. So then the clear coat will fill them in and they won't look like cracks no more. That's the theory. So I'll continue. We're all wiped down with acetone. Got a razor blade. Mix this. See if this is older. It's been sitting for over a year, so hopefully still good in there. And then see what we got. I already hit the rest of the boat down here. I didn't have a lot of time. I know this stuff doesn't have a lot of time to work, so I didn't want to waste the time I had trying to record, so I just went ahead and hit it. Stuff's already getting a little bit thick on me, so I want to get it in here, get it done. The biggest thing was this razor blade just did great. It's a tiny little scraper. It's just awesome. So I do recommend just using this razor blade. Probably work in smaller batches, work faster than me, even though I'm working pretty dang fast. I could come back and sand this epoxy probably in like 20 minutes, but you know. Well, I'm not going to say that was a disaster, but it was a mess. Where I started over here, you know, I just hit it lightly, quick, where those other little nicks were. That worked much better. Let's see the other spots here. I mean, I hit over here. I'm gonna have to scrape some of that off, I'm sure. This spot's covered. I don't even, the other spot was there, I think. I can't even see where the spots were. This one is also covered, so yeah, I did pretty well. There was 2 other spots up on top that I covered a while back. Actually pretty thick. Probably need to be sanded a little bit, but other than that, they're good to go. So, but I would recommend just don't epoxy, just sand. Sand those little tiny spider cracks down, and then, you know, go over top with, I mean, we'll see how well this stuff turns out. All right, guys, I'm glad I saved you the 2 hours or so of wet sanding this whole thing, but it definitely needed it. Wet sanded it until all the oxidation was gone. So there's still some cleaning up here I need to do, but I'll show you my setup here in a second before I get to this. I've got a couple of towels. So one towel is because this non-skid hurts the dickens out of your knees. So one is to kneel on, the other one is to wipe clean all of the water. So dry the water. Forgetting something else. And here's acetone and an old skivvy shirt. So acetone, I have some more if I run out. I've got a skivvy shirt there, that'll be my rag. So I'm gonna wipe down sections and then I'm gonna cover it. And then I'll wipe down. If I can wipe down a lot, I'll wipe down a lot. But I'll wipe down as much as I can, and then I'll cover it with this. I'm gonna start up here and get as far down as I can so that I can move my way back to here and then jump outside the boat, do outside of the boat. So what else I've got here is just this is what I'm going to mix it with, and I've decided to not use the rollers. I'm going to go with a 3-inch brush. I'll start with that, see how it goes. Obviously you'll know if I don't like it, but yeah, all I just got to do is mix this up, jump up there and start spreading it out. All right, guys. Well, on a scale of 1 to 10, initial impressions, I give this KBS DiamondClear finish. Initial impressions, like I say, it's getting a 1 from me. There's a few reasons. It's not, I lost my voice. I don't know why, but I did. But first, don't start with non-skid section that just sucks this stuff up. I still have about 1/8 of a gallon. So I thought I was going to run out, but I didn't, and that was good. But the non-skid, it's hard to get it in there. It just holds it, so you need more than you typically do on a flat surface. So that's not good. But also, this stuff is extremely thick. In the other video, he thinned it with 10% thinner, and I should have done that. I was already committed, and the sun's going down, so I didn't want to take too much time or make any other parts look different, but I should have done that because it is thick. And why is that a problem? It's a problem because in the parts up top that are flat, that don't have non-skid, well, they have grainy non-skid now. It just collected everything. The brush collected everything. When I took it out, atmospherics are a problem. And what I mean by atmospherics, well, if you can get this thing in a paint booth, get it in a paint booth. It eliminated all the dust, all the grass. People were mowing lawns. Somebody had a fire somewhere nearby. So there's just stuff in the air, and it's all over this thing. So that's unfortunate, but I guess it's still shinier than it was. So it says, you don't need to do anything. It says you can use, can it be applied with a brush without leaving any brush marks, roller, and conventional spray gun? Yeah, no. I should have put like 10% thinner and tried it again, unless it, give it a day or two. But the other problem with it being so thick is you can't put it on thin enough. All right, well, before my battery died there, I was trying to explain that it's just so thick. I can't get it to run thin off the brush, and everything sticks to it. All of everything in the air, and then it sags. So the whole thing is sagging. And obviously that can said brush marks and stuff, but does the sagging, I'll wipe away a sag and it comes right back. So there's sags all over this. So I'm just hoping that it either settles out organically, like it does it by itself. So we'll see. Or it cures hard enough that I can, sand it and then wet sand it, and it stays clear because it's a thick coat on there. So I guess I'll see. But yeah, right now, initial impressions, 1 out of 10. Come take a look at it tomorrow before I leave. And then it'll sit here for a week, and we'll move on. But probably talk about the bottom half here after that. So we'll catch up to you here in a minute, and hope that it's better than it is right now. So let's take a walk around. So up here I can see the runs. It's a little hard to see here, but you can see some of it here. So hopefully you'll be able to see it. Yeah, some of it doesn't look bad, but where the runs are. We'll see, I've knocked some down, but they've come back. But it's still curing, so it's still pretty sticky. So maybe it'll cure the right way, maybe not. But yeah, that's worse than orange peel. That's worse than orange peel. So yeah, it'll be, here's something that got stuck in it, just everything in the air. So we'll see. Really bad looking right there. I went over this back and I brushed the heck out of that. Down here too. It just keeps coming, keeps on keeping on. So there's just nothing that you can do to get this thing to cooperate. It's so thick. So yeah, definitely should have I don't know how it says you don't have to thin this stuff to put it in the sprayer. There's no way. 0% of a way. And maybe you can see better down here, but it is glossy. It's drippy, but it's glossy. So yeah, it's going to get to about 40 tonight. Right now it's probably in the 60s, still mid 60s. Then it'll get back to close to 70 tomorrow. So being cold, it won't cure all the way. There's no curing time on the bottle, on the can, quart, gallon, whatever, doesn't say, but we'll see. And I'll crawl up and see how that dash looks. I mean, the dash does look better, at least that part where it's flat. It's it at least settles out evenly where it's flat, so that's good. But I might have to do some heavy wet sanding in a week. We'll see. We'll be back to this tomorrow. Take a look. Well, it's about 16 hours later. A little windy out, and yeah, this looks terrible. So got some sandpaper ready. Still kind of gooey in these bubbles, so I'm gonna let this. I'm not gonna be back for a week. I'm leaving. A big run there, so it sucked up most of the gloss too. I think this fiberglass was so, this gel coat was so dry. This stuff's supposed to be glossy, but that's okay. I'm gonna let it dry for obviously a couple days because I'll be gone. Hopefully it bakes today, and then it's gonna rain a little bit in the next few days, but that's okay. I'll be back, and we'll sand this stuff nicely. You'll get to see that. It's gonna be fun. And then once I'm done sanding it, I'll probably even, yeah, almost wet right there. It is. So yeah, I'll sand it down, get it smooth, and you know, I'm gonna go ahead and use this stuff again. I'm gonna thin it. I'm gonna use thinner, and I'm gonna thin it, and then I'm gonna try to roll it. So I'll try to do like the other video that I saw did, and actually put some thinner in it, and maybe it will turn out nice. But right now it sucks. Let's check up top here. Because yesterday this did look better. Yep. So yeah, up here where this set, it looks much nicer. Looks glossy. The brush lines are almost gone. So there's only one thick spot up there, but up here I don't think I have to touch this again. This looks nice. Yeah, the dash, this looks nice. Maybe right here there's a little bit of a run because it's angled, but the rest of it actually looks pretty good. So yeah, up here turned out pretty nice. I'm sure up there I'm not gonna do the non-skid, not gonna touch that again, so it can stay just like it is. But that's it, guys. Next time you see me on this project, I'll have a big sander buffer in my hand and be going to town.